Hello, this is Mark. We're going to finish up the schematic, I hope, of the RP2040 design. Still have a couple of things I want to add. I mean, this is one of my test boards, so it gets kind of a little bit strange. These are OLED displays. They're really quite straightforward and simple. I'd like to add one of those to my design. There's an accelerometer that's it's called LIS3DH, and I believe that's actually supported directly in the KiCad models. So let's go on to the schematic where we left it off. We added the IRDA interface last time, although I did not connect it actually into the system. So and I made another list of well, there's a file or the RP2040 data sheet, which you really need to get, and then in here there's looks like at about page 13 it lists all the GPIO functions and what they can be multiplexed to, and that's really important when you're connecting. Like I want to connect that display, which is I2C. So it's got an SDL and SCL and SDA lines, and you know, I can look up in this data sheet and see that I can put on GPIO 2 and 3. I can use for I2C1. There's SDA and SCL, and that's the ones I'm going to use for that. So let's just go back to schematic for a second here. Let me zoom in. And oops, let me get to where I need to be, and I'm going to put some tags on here. So I'm going to be using, and I want to add a second LED and a couple of buttons, things like that. So let's just add some parts in here. Let's see. Let's just go down the pins. I want to delete that the no connect. I'm going to take all these off because I'm going to add things, and hit the escape key to get there, and I'm going to duplicate this LED 0. It's going to be, and that's going to be LED 1. Okay, put a line on it, and then I'm going to zoom out, zoom in, and I want this basic same thing here. So if I just take this and move it down a little bit, I think I'm going to do it slightly different. Let me get rid of, let me move the ground. Oh, come on. Move. Let's get this out of the way for a second. I'm just going to copy this whole thing. Command D for duplicate. Those labels are not in a good spot. Let me move these down. This is D1. I mean, yeah, I suppose. Okay, and then I want to just duplicate this guy. It's already the 1K that I want, and I'm going to duplicate this because it's close, and then E key, change that to a 1. Let me draw the lines in. And that will all end up being ground. Let me zoom out, zoom in. Okay. Move that to there, and there's a line. Okay, so now I've got LED 1, and you can my center scrolling on the mouse. I can zoom out, move the mouse pointer in another spot, and zoom back in, and that I can move around the screen pretty well. GPIO 2 looks like it's got to be my SDA line, so let me just put that on there. SDA. Rotate it a couple times, put it in there. And then I want to put an SCL line. We'll go on to 3. And we'll add those lines. And I'm going to duplicate that because I know I need it. Let me zoom out, zoom in. Oh, I don't have that part. I don't have the display on here yet. Let me... the display itself, although I'm putting it on the board, doesn't really need... doesn't need so much of a... the whole display. It's actually got a 4-pin display. Let me see if I can get this set right here. So all I really need is a connector for these 4 pins, and they're 1/10" center standard connections, and it's ground, VCC, SCL, SDA. A little bit hard for it to see on that, but on my board, what I need to do is I just need a connector. So I want a generic connector, and a 4-pin would be fine. So this actually will be my display, and I'll just throw that in here. Well, let me kind of don't like the label hanging off. Okay, so I need a ground. The pin 1 is ground. And, you know, kind of the order of things doesn't matter too much. Let me zoom back in here so we can see. So I want to take pin 1 is ground. Let me hit the escape key here and then duplicate the ground. Wire that in. You know, if the ground was actually on the bottom, that would be more convenient for me. So let me just undo that for a moment, and let me take this connector, and I'm going to right-click on it, and I want to mirror it vertically, and that flips everything for me, so that now the pin 1's on the bottom, and that'll work out a little smoother for our schematic here. Escape a few times, move that down to here. So now I can just take this and I can just connect it like this, and it won't get in the way of the other pins. I always like my grounds to be pointing down. Escape again. It needs the 3-volt display or power for that. Command duplicate for power. I need to put it out far enough that my labels aren't going to be in the way. Okay, you know, it'd be better if you were looking. Okay, so as I do that, I don't realize I'm not showing you what you should see. SCL and SDA. SCL is the 3rd pin. I've been adding this while I haven't been showing you. So this is the SCL line. So I just need to copy the SCL label. Let me just zoom out, duplicate that, SCL, and then hit the escape key, click the SDA, and duplicate that, put that there, zoom back in. Okay, so there's my display. You know, the I2C interfaces need pull-up resistors. They need a 47 or 4.7K pull-up resistor on both of those, and I don't have it anywhere yet. So what I think I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to put them over here. So I need a resistor. So let me grab that one. Oops. And I'm going to put it right here. Let me zoom in. Oops. It needs to be a little higher. Now let me edit this, and it's actually going to be 4.7K. and I want to move it just a little bit. And then I need another one. And I'm going to move these. I want to go just to the outside. And now I can wire these in. Okay, we need them to go to +3. Here's a +3. Let me just take this and move it up just a little bit. And let me connect all that back together. And this I also want to connect in. Maybe not quite that high. Oops. Okay, so I've now got resistors in place. Okay, so I've got a display. Now what do I need? I need the we need the accelerometer. Okay, let me zoom out. And let's see, I need to make sure I have what I need for that. Okay, so I need an accelerometer. So it's a new component. And this is an LIS3DH device. It's already got the package selected for us, which is kind of nice. So it looks like that. It's a little small there. Let's put it down here. And now we'll zoom back into it. And we've got all these pins. And I went through earlier and looked at the schematic and decided what I needed to connect where. So I'm going to need a +3. So let me zoom out and get a +3. And just drop it down here for a second. I'll need a ground. That one's visible, so maybe that's enough. Okay. So I want the +3 to goes to the 1 to 14 and to the chip select. So I'm going to move this over onto this side, and I'm going to wire it in. Okay, there's that. I need a ground. That's going to be this guy, and we'll put her down here. Now we have to do something with every pin, so can't leave anything empty. The A to D converter inputs, we're just not going to use those. So let me just list those as no connects. We've got the pin 7 is used for SPI interface. We're going to interface this with I2C, so we don't really need that either. So let me just not connect on that. And so what I need is the SCL and SDA come in on these two, and then I still got those two to deal with yet. So let me grab a label. It's going to be SDA. It's the same label. It'll connect it straight into what we did before. Rotate twice. And then I want another label, and this one's going to be SCL. Rotate R button twice, gets us to there. Oop, wrong spot. And move. Okay, so here's SDA. Here is SCL. Now that'll connect that in. I've still got these two interrupt lines here. And what I want to put in there is just a, I may want to connect them in the future, and you really can't solder to these pins. They're so small. So what I want is a test point. And I haven't specified the footprint on it, but I'm going to put 2 test points in here because that'll be really convenient for me. And I'm going to just connect those straight in. Those labels are in the bad spots. Okay, so that's there. Let me have it number everything. We're going to hit annotate. Close. Now we've got numbers on stuff. Let me move this label. And we'll move this one too. That looks better right on top. Now this text is totally worthless. Oops. And I could come in here and I can say I want edit field value, and I can basically say unclick the visible, and it just goes away. So I can click on that test point and I can say E, and I can make it invisible, or I could change it to something else. Okay, so there's test point 1 and test point 2. Ooh, you know, it's int 1, int 2, and test point 1 goes to int. Now let me swap those around just to make it look a little nicer. It would have worked either way, but I'm just trying to have some logic to this. Okay, so we now have the processor. We've got test points. I don't have a, now let me, everything's annotated. I should be able to click footprint assignment here. And I've got the connector and the test points that are not connected. Let me do the test point first. Terminal block, test point. And I want to do, I know this text is small and I can't make it bigger very easy. A test pad, because I want surface mount. And I really don't want one very big. That's 1 millimeter. Let's go for test point, loop, bridge, keystone. Test point, that's a square pad. Let's see, what do I want? Oh, this is a round one. 1 millimeter diameter. That's big enough to solder to, so that'll be fine. Let me just do that if I need it. Connector, and that's going to be you know, a connector pin header, 2.54 millimeter, 1x3, and I want the vertical. Oh, 1x4, 1x4 vertical. Okay. Let me go back to the full schematic again. You know, we're getting closer. I've still got a ton of unconnected pins that, you know, I may want later. You know, I don't know what else I'll connect this board to. Oh, we need a couple of buttons. That's right. I'm going to use the same button as I used up here. Let me... like that. One side's going to go to ground. We can just connect them all over that way. The other sides, we need pull-up resistors. Let me just grab one of these. 4.7K will work fine for a pull-up. I'm getting close to the top there. I still need the 3.3 volts in there, so let me just, we'll just do that. and we'll fix some things later. Okay, so we need the 3.3 yet. Hit the escape a couple times, duplicate that. Okay, so now I come back in here. Let's draw some lines. I want this line to be pulled up to there. It actually will go someplace else eventually. That to there. That to there. You know, these I want to go I'll just move that to the other side. And I need this. I can put it just about where I want it. And then I'm going to put a line there to there. Okay, so both of these are pulled up. We need labels on them because I need to connect them into the micro. And this is going to be button 1. Rotate. Duplicate. And this one I'm going to make button 2. It's easier just to edit the field sometimes. Draw the lines in. And I'm going to put my mouse on here and say duplicate again. Zoom out, zoom in, and here's where the buttons are going to go. And this one's got to be button 2. Draw the lines. Okay, let me, oh, they still need to be annotated. Now this is, in this version of KiCad, there is a bug. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to run the design rule check. And we'll see if it shows up on my system at home. Well, pin not connected, TXD lines, all that sort of stuff. Oh, I didn't put the labels over here. Okay. Error input not driven by that. They're all on U4. Okay, let me close those. Those 3 lines, that's why we do this stuff. Okay, those need to connect to a UART. And I'm going to connect those to 6, 7, or let's see. I need 3 lines, and I want GPIO 4. Oh, I put the buttons in the wrong spot. I want the buttons down to pin 7 and 8. So let me just take this. So there's GPIO 7 on pin 9, and this one I want GPIO 8 on pin 11. Okay, let me delete the no connects. I need all 3 of these removed. Let me draw some lines. Now the UART that runs the IRDA interface that I've added last time has 3 pins, and GPIO 4 is actually the IRDA RX. So let me put a label. IRDA RX. I'm going to put an underscore in there, make it just a little easier. And then I'm going to just duplicate that and put it down here and then edit it. And this one's going to be the IRDA TX. And there's actually a one called SD, which is disable. So we can actually shut it off so it doesn't do anything, and takes less power that way too. So, okay, so now I need those to go directly over. I want to duplicate that, zoom out, zoom in. That's the RX. Duplicate. Edit. This is the TX. Duplicate. Drop it in there. Edit. SD. I can't type. SD. Okay. So now when I go back and run the design rule check again, 0 warning, 0 errors. Awesome. Okay. Can go to the schematic now, or the board layout, and I could say update circuit board with changes made to the schematic, and I say update. And then I say 3 warnings. No NIT found for symbol TP2. I gotta fix that yet. Okay. So we will go back and figure out what happened there. Okay. Oh, we've got, there's the pads for that. There's the memory chip. I don't see the, oh, there it is. That is a tiny point. TP1 got assigned. Oh. I must have botched TP2. Let me go back and fix that. So, back to schematic. Footprint assignment. That's fine. Ah, got wild on here. That's got to be test point. Test point pad diameter 1.0. Okay. Save the work. Back to the printed circuit board. Update circuit board with this one. 0 errors, 0 warnings. Awesome. So there's TP1. There's TP2. Okay. This is a good place to start. I've got all the parts on the board. They're just absolutely randomly located. And it's going to take us a while to put things actually in the places they need to go. And that's going to be a whole nother set of videos. But I think we're okay with the schematic at this point. You know, I may, you know, when I start doing the board layout, I may actually start flipping pins around. Because I mean, I've certainly got options. Like the buttons can go on any pin they want to go on. Whatever's close. So when I actually start doing the layout, if it's in a bad spot, I'll just go back to the schematic and move it to another pin. But for the moment, I think we've got everything there. And then the other thing I'll probably do is then when I'm nearly done, I'm going to probably add another connector on there that just has extra pins that I have no idea what I'm going to do with. But you can't solder to them on the PC board unless you bring them out to some sort of pads or something like that. So save the work, and we'll stop there.